Audiobooks and One Click Digital present R.B. Shorts, a collection of classic and contemporary stories from the world's best writers of short fiction. One Click Digital provides free audiobook downloads in partnership with thousands of public libraries. To see if One Click Digital's extensive catalogue is available to you, visit your library's website. And now, Bruno and the Carol Singers by Martin Walker, narrated by Robert Ian Mackenzie and directed by Ezra Tenenbaum.
The last market day before Christmas in the small French town of Saint-Denis was unusually cold. In the main square and all along the Rue de Paris, stallholders stamped their feet and blew on their chilled hands as the customers thronged for their festive ducks and geese and turkeys. Young men made jokes about global warming, and the older ones sniffed and said this was nothing. They recalled years when families had slept with the cows and livestock for their body heat. From a steel-blue sky, the pale sun of December tried valiantly to give some memory of warmth. Ducks waddled over the thickening ice along the banks of the River Vézère, and a man dressed as Santa Claus emerged from the mairie to post on the town's official notice board an announcement of free firewood for the elderly. In his usual spot by the stone steps to the upper square, Grand-Père Pagnol, in a Russian-style fur cap, was doing a roaring trade in roasted chestnuts. Shoppers clustered around his brazier for a little heat, while Pagnol cheerfully warned them all that weather such as this meant that snow was coming and they could look forward to a white Christmas. Bruno Courrèges, the town's chief of police, usually felt slightly embarrassed when he dressed as Father Christmas. Today, however, he was grateful for the false beard that protected much of his face against the chill. He greeted the crowd around Pagnol's brazier before climbing the steps to shake hands and kiss the cheeks of the small band of choristers who were about to launch another of Bruno's experiments. A woman he recognized only by her eyes avoided the beard and kissed him fondly on the lips. Her striking red-bronze hair was hidden under her beret of white Angora wool. This was Pamela, known affectionately by the town as the mad Englishwoman, although she was really a Scot, and hardly mad. She had told him on one of those agreeable, if infrequent nights when he was privileged to share her bed, that there were 3 things she missed about Christmas in her homeland. The first was snow, which she now seemed likely to see. The second was a proper Christmas pudding with brandy butter and a 6-penny piece hidden inside, whose annual discovery had always been one of the treats of her childhood. The third was singing Christmas carols in the open air, and this Bruno had been able, with a little diplomacy, to arrange. Calling on the church choir for volunteers and fleshing out the numbers with some of the English families who lived in the district, he'd persuaded Fabrice to provide the music. The young man who played accordion at the rugby club dances had provided himself with gloves that left his fingers free, but he complained that his hands were still too cold to play. Bruno nodded with understanding and shepherded the entire choral group down to stand on the steps. He positioned Fabrice in pride of place beside Pagnol's glowing brazier, and signalled Father Santou, looking even more rotund than usual with the extra clothing he was wearing under his soutane, to begin. Vive le Vent was the first suitably jaunty number. To Bruno's ears it was all the more interesting because the English contingent had insisted on singing the Jingle Bells lyrics they knew. During rehearsals, Bruno had been delighted to learn that most of the French carols had their English equivalents, and each nationality seemed happier singing its own version. So Silent Night also became Douce Nuit, and Viens, peuple fidèle was twinned with O Come All Ye Faithful. With the unexpected inclusion in the choir of Horst, a German professor of archaeology who kept a house in Saint-Denis, Mon Beau Sapin became both O Christmas.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.